Hey y'all, welcome back to Nan and Ann's Simple Suppers. I'm Ann.
I'm Nan.
And today we are going to keep it short and sweet, and we're going to make something called quinoa lasagna, or sometimes it's referred to as vegetable lasagna, and both are actually correct. I call it quinoa lasagna because quinoa is the starch I use in place of classic traditional lasagna noodles. So, this is a gluten-free recipe that we were having a hankering for lasagna at my house, and I came across somebody else who was gluten-free who shared the recipe with me, and I shared it with others, and it's just continued to grow. So we have one in the oven that we'll show you in a moment when it comes out. But let's show, I want to demonstrate how to build this. So, first what we've done...
Start with the 9x13.
Thank you. This is the person who keeps me on track with the technical things. Took about 4 zucchini squash and about 4 yellow squash, just rinse them, slice them up, just like this in rounds, couldn't be easier. Sprayed it with Pam or whatever, you can put olive oil, whatever kind of non-stick spray you prefer to use, and we just layered, just with some green, some yellow, just to give it some color. And then the next thing we do is put the quinoa. Don't even have to cook it. This could not
be simpler.
Easier. You just sprinkle quinoa in there. Don't measure it. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy.
Now you can be generous with the quinoa. It's good.
Yeah. So, after we do that, we've made our own tomato sauce that Nan's going to tell you about. You could use a jarred sauce, but we really recommend a homemade sauce because it's so easy.
When tomatoes are in season, I would use fresh tomatoes. But good organic stewed tomatoes are wonderful. We used about 4 or 5 cans, and then a little fresh basil, some salt, pepper, and a dab of sugar, and just let it cook until it becomes jammy. Just gets this nice consistency. And then we're going to take it over, and we're going to add it to our squash.
Put a layer on top of the... So you want to put the tomato sauce on top of the quinoa so the moisture cooks the quinoa while it's baking in the oven. So simple. And the oven is on 375, so have your oven preheated to 375. And when we put it together, we'll bake it for, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes.
Right.
Maybe
just
closer
until
to
it's
45.
nice and bubbly. And also, if your tomato sauce gets a little too jammy or not enough liquid in it, you can always add just a little bit of water around to cook the quinoa a little bit more.
Or maybe even a little bit of chicken stock.
Right, you could, unless you want to keep it vegetarian.
Correct.
So, we add a layer of tomato sauce.
And we also just warmed up some olive oil and put a little garlic and onion in the base of our sauce. That just gives it a little extra oomph, and you know me, I'm always looking for that extra taste.
Sauteed some onions and garlic before we added the tomato sauce, the tomatoes.
Okay. And then, this is mozzarella cheese, shredded.
And this is goat cheese.
And the goat,
yummy, tangy goat cheese.
That tang thing again. So, adding a layer of mozzarella with some goat cheese interspersed just to give it a little pop in flavor.
Okay.
I think my stomach's growling. I'm hungry.
Then we're going to add another layer of zucchini and yellow squash.
And you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just kind of alternate, but I actually think I'm a little out of balance here.
Oh,
so
I just kind of throw it on. It all comes out.
It does. And it's really a beautiful dish. And when it comes out of the oven, I usually let it sit for about 15 minutes so that it's warm, but it really holds together nicely.
You can serve it in squares just like you do normal
lasagna. And it holds
lasagna.
together. It's really just beautiful the way it cooks up. So
add that, and then we'll add another layer of quinoa to the top. My hands are, well, wait, they have goat cheese all over them.
Okay, so more quinoa. It's fun to scatter it. Gotta play with your food. Food should be fun. And it's gonna be a lot of fun to eat it. Yeah, I'm having a little too much fun.
A little too much, Ann. Slow down.
Keeping me in line.
I think we might add a little. We actually made another lasagna first, so this tomato sauce might be a little thin. Might need
That's all right. We just scrape it out of there. and
Right.
The thing about this recipe
It doesn't
is
matter.
it comes out just a little bit differently every time. And it is one of those you just kind of do with what you've got.
And
it's,
you
it's
can't
easy.
mess it
You can't
up.
really mess it up.
This one's going to need some water.
Yeah, we'll add a little water to that because, see, great example of it not being
Not
exactly
working.
right.
There we go. That's about all I can scrape out.
All right.
So go with the cheese. I have even added another can of tomatoes sometimes, but
You
this
could
is
just
fine.
put
You
another
could
can
just
of
cut it.
tomatoes on top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll just put our layer of cheese.
And add the goat cheese.
We'll finish this up.
And this is the last layer.
And it's a pretty dish. This and some field greens with whatever vegetables you want to toss with it, with lemon juice and olive oil.
Yeah, great
It's
fresh
a great
salad
supper
is wonderful.
with a baguette of bread, gluten-free or regular bread, and it's a wonderful, wonderful light supper.
I
especially
serve
in
it
the
for
summer.
company. It's so nice. I will even serve it for company, so it's
Okay.
that's it. And it's been about 25, 30 minutes, and I think our casserole is ready. It's looking delicious.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah.
And if you like fresh herbs, something that I like to do, that Nan and I like to do, we act like we live together. We just compare notes a lot, really. Is sprinkle fresh basil on top. We get to create together. It's such a wonderful gift. So sprinkle some fresh basil on top. That's probably plenty.
That's good, and it's ready to serve. All you have to do is cut it in nice, generous squares.
Right, let it cool, then cut it and serve it with your salad greens and a baguette.
And another simple supper.
Voila. Bye.